Hi there to all the pupils at, and I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Gordonstoun or Gordonstoun School. My name is Jo Morris. I am the creator and founder of SciRecipes, and I'm going to answer some of the questions that your teacher sent me to try and explain more a little bit about my business and why I chose to set it up. So let's begin. So my business is called SciRecipes, and I take everyday recipes and twist them with science in order to make learning a bit more fun and tasty. For example, my favourite recipe is called Journey to the Centre of the Pizza, and I use the toppings on the pizza to teach people what the different layers of the earth are. Each recipe is illustrated with a step-by-step guide, but it's also accompanied with a sciencey bit. So when you've finished making your pizza and you sat down eating, you can read the sciencey bit and learn more about the different layers of the earth and the people behind the discoveries. So I came up with the idea for my business whilst I was studying at university. I belonged to a research group, and we would meet once a month and talk about the different parts of our research that we were all working on. But we would take it in turns to bring cakes. And at first it used to just be cupcakes and brownies, like really simple things. And then people started bringing in cakes that represented their geology field areas. So one of them was a structural geologist, and he would alternate layers of vanilla and chocolate sponge and then cut them and slightly offset them in the cake. So when you cut through the cake, it would look like a geological fault. And this started getting quite competitive, and we'd all try and like one up each other and like how complicated we could make our cakes look. But what I noticed happening as well was we couldn't all finish the cake, so the cake would be put into the staff room, and on our lunch break we'd all be sat around and everybody would be chatting. So in earth sciences you've got structural geologists, sedimentologists, paleontologists, all these people from different areas and backgrounds, but they're all really interested in people's research once a cake was being used to describe their field area. And it kind of got me thinking, I was like, if we're all sat around asking each other questions and learning from this geologically themed cake, can I create more recipes that can then be taken out to the public and be used to teach earth sciences there? The idea was shelved for a while. I had to finish my research and I ended up getting a job, but I was made redundant in 2015, and I started sharing my ideas on a blog. And my friends were like, you should turn this into a business and try and sell these. So that's what I did. And 5 years later, here I am making this video for you. Okay, so as I said in the previous video, I was made redundant in 2015, and up until that point, I'd only ever learnt sciences. I'm a massive geek, as you can probably see from my wall behind me. This is my new favourite addition, my dinosaur clock. It's awesome. But I never learnt anything else really, like business or accounting or anything. So I knew I had to go learn those things. And luckily in Aberdeen, I was living in Aberdeen at the time, with all the mass redundancies in the oil and gas industry, there was a lot of funding put into retraining people, and there was a class on called Women into Business that I found on Eventbrite. I went along, started chatting to people there, and they were like, do you know this thing is on? And so they were helping me, point me in the right direction. There was then the Elevator program, which I applied for, so I ended up on a 12-week accelerator business program, which was great because I just got to meet loads of people outside of my world of geology, which is kind of all I'd known for my career. And I just sort of got to learn and experiment, try different ideas, and then I left Aberdeen 3 years ago now. A lot of my family live in sort of Nottingham, the East Midlands way, and Aberdeen is 8 hours away without breaks if you drive. So I was just missing friends and family. So I did end up moving back down home. My business ideas have changed a lot since 2015 when I sort of first started out. Originally I had set up a blog called Geology Girl Rocks, and I just wanted to share pictures from my travels around the world. So I've actually got some rocks to show you because I can't help myself even though I'm talking about my business. So this one here, if you can see, is a fossil fish, and this is from the Green River Formation, and it's about 55 million years old. This rock here, hopefully you can see it in the light if I just sort of angle it and slowly. Can you kind of see the leaf shape here? So this is a fossil fern that's about 300 million years old, and this is from Svalbard, which is an island that belongs to Norway up in the Arctic Circle. And then this rock here, can you see this? So this is called labradorite, and hopefully you can see it sort of changing light as I wobble it around. So this is a mineral from Madagascar, and I love being a geologist, and I spent a lot of time travelling around the world in search of really cool volcanoes and really cool fossils, and I wanted to create a blog to try and share that. I called it Geology Girl Rocks, and so when I started the business courses, that's what I was known as. But as I started doing research, I found that basically parents and young boys wouldn't buy my products, i.e. my baking kits and things, if it had the word girl in the title. Now that might sound completely wrong, and you know, you might get angry at that, but unfortunately that's just the way it is at the moment. And I didn't want to immediately cut out 50% of my market, so I decided to change my business name, and I spent a long time thinking about it, and eventually I settled on the word SciRecipes, which is a portmanteau of science and recipes. And it occasionally works. I use the periodic table to spell out my business name, but some people will sort of come to my market stall and can't quite read it, can't quite understand it. My friend Lucy calls it SciRecipes. So anyway, but you know, it's just one of those things. I think if you go look through business, or you talk to people who have come up with names, there's some names out there, like brands and products, that you just know how to pronounce because it's sort of out there and everybody says it. But I think if you go speak to some of those people, they'll find that a lot of people didn't know how to say those business names. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head at the moment, but you know. So I kind of figured I'm going to stick with it. I like it. Nobody else has got it. It describes my business, and you know, eventually people will learn how to pronounce it and how to spell it. Another thing that's had to evolve as well is the like the packaging for my baking kits. So I've got some just here. So originally, when I interviewed to go on the elevator program, these were my baking kits. So I put them in glass jars, and I put them in different layers and things like that, and it's just got a post-it note as a label, but I was going to print out some nice sticky labels and things like that, and I soon realised that if I wanted to post these, they would be very difficult to post. They're heavy, so you spend a lot of money posting glass. Basically, it's not very environmentally friendly, and it's also breakable, so you'd have to put it in another box with some more packaging to protect it. So this idea was scrapped fairly quickly. I then moved on to creating these cardboard boxes, which, as you can see, are nice and thin. So they go through letter boxes, and they're A4 in size, so I can print out my recipe cards. And I printed out all the sticky labels for the addresses and the ingredients and things. So by law, you need to have an address on, and you have to have these nutritional information and ingredients if you're selling food. So so that's what I did. They do sell, but the problem is they just don't look that pretty, do they? They're just brown cardboard with a sticky label on, and I was finding that nobody actually really knew what was going on. So this year I started going to markets like craft fairs and gift fairs and things like that, and I then rebranded and created packaging like this. So there you go, you can see it, gingerbread dinosaur baking kits. So this is the only one I've done. This is for Christmas. This is my logo here, so you can see the periodic table as well, and my little dinosaurs. Here's my Einstein with a chef's hat on as well. And then if you roll it over, there's a photograph here. This is Bake with Jake, and he puts top tips all throughout the recipe and everything like that. Roll it round. I've also managed to design and draw some, you know, how to fill a piping bag and things like that. And then roll it over, and then here is the all-important nutritional information and ingredients, our mission, my social media contact details as well, best before end, and then the address and email address in case you want to get in contact. I also have this kind of fun thing here which says caution, science in progress, signed Erwin Schrödinger, and if you don't recognise that, that's a play on the Schrödinger's cat. Is he dead or alive in the box, and you only know once you open the box, so you can have fun with that. So that's just one of the things that has evolved and changed throughout my business. Okay, so the journey of being an entrepreneur is very up and down. You have some really good days and you have some really bad days, and this year has been really tough with the pandemic. I started out in January with a business plan, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do, and just by March everything had closed down. But some wins, so you have to remember those wins in your head when you're having really bad days, and you just have to persevere and sort of, like, if people are telling you that this is a good product and it's a good idea, you have to remember that and just keep on going on. So some of the really good things, I won 2 Great Taste Awards last year for 2 of my baking kits, Satin Bagel Rings and Giant's Causeway Oat Cakes. So they won 1 star each. Like, that was a really cool day. Whilst I won I won the audience vote, the people's vote, for a science communication competition called Fame Lab. So I ended up going down to London to the Science Museum and performing on the main stage in the IMAX theatre, and that was really cool. And then this year, Theo Paphitis, who is one of the Dragon's Den businessmen, he's no longer on it, but he does sort of still do a competition. So every Sunday evening between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. you can tweet your business. You make sure you have to hashtag in SBS, so that's Small Business Sunday, and you just have to talk about your idea, and he will pick 6 businesses and retweet your tweet on Monday evening. So I'd done a few tweets last year and it wasn't really working, and I kind of gave up with it. And then in January I was like, right, I'm going to get back on this and I'm going to try. My second week I was just working one Monday evening, and all of a sudden my phone just started buzzing. Like, I was like, what's going on? And it came up on my screen and it was like, Theo Paphitis has retweeted your tweet. So I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. So that was really cool. And so all the winners get to meet at a conference once a year and get to meet him in person. You get your certificate handed to you. You get to meet loads of other business people as well. So so that was a great day. And then, yeah, what other things? I can't think of any at the moment, but you know. Oh, the other thing, when my book was published, so I'll just show you, I'm not showing that yet. So here is my cookbook of curiosity. So I have written and illustrated this all myself. So I learned how to use Adobe Illustrator software to draw all my maps, my geological maps for my thesis. And so I just converted my skills from drawing maps into drawing loads of really cool pictures in my book. So here we go, this is the step-by-step illustrated guide, and here is the sciencey bit, and this one's called Franklin's DNA Pasta Bake. And the ingredients in the pasta bake begin with the same letters as the 4 amino acids that you find in DNA. So, so I published that last November. It's for sale on Amazon as well, globally. but I can also buy author copies and then go to markets and sell